300 years ago, a catastrophic flood destroys the world, leaving it filled with nothing but scattered islands separated by an endless ocean. The sky suddenly becomes haunted by continuous, impenetrable electrical storms as far as the eye can see, marking an ominous horizon all around, while the old world, with its culture, cities, and knowledge, remains buried beneath the ocean. From the ruins that were left on the surface, a massive fortified city called Argos was built and ruled by an immortal group of leaders called Founders, headed by Lord Tarsus and his general, the Baroness. Soon as Argos becomes a prominent sign of hope and respite for humanity, the Founders start using the islanders' desperation to gain entry to their advantage and start hosting an annual speedboating race where chosen pilots from each island, called Storm Riders, compete to win entry for all the inhabitants of their respective island. However, should these pilots lose, their island is stripped of its resources and its people will be cast out onto the ocean. One day on Fig Island, a young boy named Neb admires a wanted poster for a legendary storm rider named Hammerhead, who is labeled a criminal by the Founders for daring to pilot his boat into the storm to find the secrets that lie beyond the horizons and disappearing into the clouds, and clearly inspired by such adventure, wonders what ever happened to him. Meanwhile, from Argos, catchy advertisements are released for the annual race that encourages all to sign up.
Are you afraid it will destroy your island? Behind the walls of Argos, Founders may sponsor your selected riders to join the league.
On Fig Island, while helping their fathers, Neb and his best friend Anna hang out, and Anna shows Neb pictures of Hammerhead and narrates the legend that, despite being struck by lightning, Hammerhead had survived, won the race, and got his island people a place in Argos. Then he had continued racing on behalf of other islands, never losing a race and securing a spot for the residents of many islands, until he pulled the plug and rode into the ominous storm and disappeared forever, painted as a criminal who defected. As the duo watches the pictures in awe, Anna wishes that maybe they could be as brave as Hammerhead someday, win a race for their island, and maybe even explore beyond. Inspired by this tale and hoping to find a meaningful existence beyond the storm-covered horizon, Anna's father decides to use the race as his cover for his discreet endeavor, signs up, prepares for the race, bids farewell, and sets off on his way, among a few other pilots from other islands.
Big Island, Seal, and Malia fighting for position!
Be coming around here soon.
Soon the race begins, with an animated Argos commentator reporting proceedings for the ruling elite.
Rider from Seals catches lightning, giving him a boost! Another race full of mayhem and destruction!
Then, as the race for the winner continues, to the horror of the audience and commentator, Lazar defects and heads straight to the stormy horizon.
It seems we have a rebel rider in our midst! What are these people thinking?
In Fig Island, Anna holds her breath in worry and fear for her father's safety and listens to the commentator's report on the radio with Neb and his father, Nicola.
No one survives the storm!
Watching the disastrous outcome from their high tower, the Founders breathe a sigh of relief, while Anna's heart is forever broken, and she quietly vows to one day avenge her father. In the aftermath of the race, Fig Island is banned from the race for 10 years for breaking the rules, while Chios Island is stripped of its resources and its inhabitants are exiled to the ocean to await certain death. A few days later in school on his presentation, Neb discusses the potential existence of islands beyond the storm horizon, and his teacher, along with his peers, strongly criticize him, and he's reminded that they are lucky to be protected by the storm horizon.
But we simply cannot accept it. Disrespecting our founders.
Frustrated by his brainwashed environment, Neb recites every detail from the legend of the Hammerhead for inspiration. That night, during a storm, Neb ignores Anna's desperate pleas, climbs a tall tree as old as himself, and waits to be hit, just like Hammerhead had been, strongly believing it's the only way to break through the storm horizon.
Because only those who survive the storm gain the power to break through it.
Elsewhere, the next day, the Baroness visits Chios Island with her men and evacuates it.
Chios is now property of Lord Taurus.
Then, once it's empty, the Baroness and her men start stripping it, looking for the element, which is believed to have the power to reverse and defy death. Meanwhile, on Fig Island, unable to tolerate his grandson's suffering any longer, Neb's wise grandfather Dita resorts to a desperate action he swore he would never do and steps outside. As soon as Dita puts Gaia's blood on the boy's eyes, he's cured from his suffering and instead starts to get visions of Hammerhead.
And there he was, the Hammerhead.
Elsewhere, after a futile search, the Baroness returns to Argos and informs the founders that, despite a thorough search, there was no trace of the element on Chios Island, and reminds them that they only have a decade's worth of reserve. Pushed to a corner, the founders momentarily consider seizing the remaining more than 2,000 islands, subduing the inhabitants, and exploring the lands for the element, which they desperately need to maintain their immortality until the Baroness reminds them to reconsider their ludicrous idea, as they will be extremely outnumbered in a battle against the numerous islands.
It's time for us to accept our fate.
It's just a saying from the old world, Taurus.
Suicidal riders are getting too frequent to ignore.
Do not say his words to me again.
Meanwhile, on Fig Island, while recuperating at his grandfather's house, Neb continues getting more visions he doesn't understand, and Dita comforts him.
Visions come suddenly, unexpectedly. And there he was again, haunting me.
In Argos, Lord Terrace gets a disappointing report and lashes out.
Send every spy to each and every island around the wreckage and find him!
Meanwhile, on Fig Island, a few days later, Nicola picks Neb up, but is confused to hear his father making an ominous prediction.
I have seen her flag on the coast. She is coming for him.
The next day, as word of the Founders' relentless exploration goes around, despite fearing they may have walked into a trap set by the Founders, Neb follows Anna's lead as she takes him to where Hammerhead's boat ruins had been discovered.
I wonder why.
Neb peeks through the water, sees divers, and the kids fear that someone's around and try to hurry back, but are soon captured by soldiers who present them to the Baroness.
What are you doing in my bay?
We'll leave. Can you help us get home?
As the Baroness gives the children a ride home, she explains how comfortable life is in Argos.
The storm horizon will not hold back the wave forever.
He's just scared of the storm.
Elsewhere in Argos, having started to be suspicious of his general ever since she made that comment and quoted the defector, Lord Tarsus orders his people to follow and spy on her. Unaware that she's under constant surveillance, the Baroness gets the kids to safety.
He's a storm rider, not a farm boy.
Then Lord Terrace asks his technician if he has managed to replicate the ancient key.
Remote connection activated. Remote connection lost.
Horrified by the outcome and knowing what will follow, the man begs for mercy to no avail, and for his failure, he's ordered to throw himself off the Argos' tall wall into the surrounding ocean and kill himself, which he, of course, does. On Fig Island, Dita removes an old hidden box containing the ancient key from his wall and decides he must pass it forward.
I have seen a rider enter the storm.
10 years later, now adults, Neb and Anna are in a relationship and continue to spend a lot of time together, planning ways to explore the world beyond. Hence, with the ban officially removed this year, they started training hard to enter the race together and win entrance for their people. One day, haunted by visions, Neb dismisses his grandfather's questions and storms away, trying to understand the meaning of it. Soon, he realizes that in his visions, Anna succumbs to the storm and dies, and becomes horrified by the loss of his love. The next day, the Baroness returns to recruit and sponsor the duo for the race, as she had promised a decade ago.
The boy doesn't want to ride.
I can't change the past.
Is this what you want? To ride for the Founders?
My sponsorship is good for a year.
Then, after months of preparation, as the all-important day approaches, an islander named Larry gives the chosen racers an orientation about the treacherous race.
No one survives the storm. It's about surviving.
Then, as both Dita and Nicola hold their breaths, along with the rest of the islanders, the race starts.
The power of lightning slashes Crater Rider in half.
However, after traveling some distance, Anna's boat is hit by an Argos rider, knocking her unconscious, and she falls into the water.
Swift punishment for the rebel rider of Big by the protectors of the storm. No one survives the storm.
Horrified that his visions may be coming through, Neb stops his race and jumps into the water, fighting the ominous visions of her in a haunting red dress, but is heartbroken to find nothing.
Is Big Island, who will most likely in a week's time be heading for the open sea.
Then Neb is rescued and imprisoned in Argos, where he lies in a pool of his own tears, mourning the death of his first and only love, and feeling guilty for not being there to protect her. Later, Neb is taken to see the Baroness, and as soon as he sees her, he starts vowing that he will never let them take his island. Sympathizing with the heartbroken and naive young man, the Baroness explains that the race is bigger than gaining entry to the Argos, and narrates that after the devastating flood, members of an operation called Titan had voyaged the world and had been fascinated to discover an intact archipelago of islands, whose people believed they survived the ordeal due to the protection of their deity, goddess Gaia, and her blood. The blood, after much studying, was revealed to grant immortality and became known as the element. Soon, tempted by the luxury of immortality, the Titans renamed themselves the Founders, became immortal, and built Argos, where, unbeknownst to anyone, they stored reserves of the element for their continuous need. Then Taurus had used the technology meant to protect the world to create electrical storms, which kept their reign of terror intact, and used the race as an opportunity to evacuate the remaining islands, to search for the element. However, one day, a founder known as Seekus to his peers and Hammerhead to the common islanders had had enough of the abuse, tried to stop it, and when he failed, he exiled himself, never to be heard from again.
Your grandfather, he knew all that. His impulse to protect you was correct.
Then, seeing the shock and confusion on Neb, the Baroness advises him to go home, put the past behind him, so that he can fulfill his destiny. Neb does as advised, but as soon as he gets to Fig Island, he lashes out at Dita.
You lied. For protection.
Protect me from what?
The Founders.
Till the end of the world. And back.
Then, still mourning Anna's death, as is custom in their tradition, Neb plants a tree in her name.
I planted this tree the day Neb was born.
Then, hoping to understand everything better, Neb talks to his father about Dita's stories.
That the storm itself could transport you to the other side. Center of the storm is what you kids call the dancing bolt. He trained me to catch it.
Then, once calming down, Neb talks to Dita about his saying, Amor Fati.
You will need a certain equipment to help you break through. And so is the truth of who you are.
A few days later, Neb takes Anna's tree and goes to Argos to wait for the second round of the race. There, as he walks around the compound, Neb sees the Argos pilot who had killed Anna.
She brought her death upon herself.
Later, a nurse named Maya is sent to Neb to tend to his wounds and casually asks him about his upbringing and his island. Maya then goes to Taurus and reports what she has learned.
He makes no sense when he speaks.
Tell me.
Seekus.
Then, realizing that this may be his last chance to end the seemingly endless saga of abuse and reign of terror, Neb comes up with a plan, approaches Larry, and works out the details. He then sets out for the final round of the race. Then, after a few minutes, while his family listens in anticipation, Neb wins the final round and secures entry for his island like he always dreamed. However, to the shock of everyone, Neb doesn't stop his race there.
Unit's about to get settled!
Seeing this, a furious Taurus approaches the Baroness and starts questioning her.
My searchers will arrive on Fig Island, and they will find the source. What it felt like to taste immortality.
While an enraged Taurus prepares an attack on Fig Island, Neb executes his plan to perfection, down to every detail he had worked out with Larry, and using the compass on his ancient key, swims to the shore undetected. Then Neb sneaks into Argos, and as he walks through the high-walled tower, he is surprised to find numerous men dead on the ground. Then moments later, Neb runs into the Baroness, who reveals that Dita is in fact the legend known both as the Seekus and Hammerhead, and to the shock of Neb, adds that she too has visions.
And I have seen a rider enter the storm. Sometimes you see them.
Then, as Neb processes everything he learns, everything he ever knew of the legend flashes before his eyes, leaving him stunned.
Is it true? You see destinies.
Legend has it he self-sacrificed to the storm, the son of Storm.
Later, despite their earlier argument, Taurus sends for the Baroness. But as soon as she arrives, she's shocked to see that he has shot and killed every other member of the Founders with an arrow. Disgusted by the cruelty, the Baroness scolds Taurus, who is quite unfazed by the ordeal, and explains that Gaia had ruined his original world, turned him into the greedy god he has become, and hence he has to keep feeding on her blood to remain the same way. However, while continuing his speech on destiny and future, Taurus sees the numerous boats headed by Neb from afar and becomes enraged.
What is it? What is that?
I am where I am fated to be.
Meanwhile, on the other side, numerous boats station around Fig Island and, following Taurus's orders, throw explosives on the island, hoping to kill Dita, who's not at all intimidated and stands on the hills awaiting his destiny. Elsewhere, as everyone cheers them on with sheer excitement and desperate hope, Neb, Nicola, and his men pilot the boats against each other and escape the explosions expertly, while just like Dita had advised him, Neb uses the storm to travel through, but moments later, everything falls silent.
He's gone.
Neb hikes into the control room on the other side of the city and, using his ancient key, turns the switch on the machine, killing the storms and the clouds in just a few moments. As all the darkness and gloom are lifted off the sky, people celebrate the following light and the sun, which shines through for the first time in centuries. Soon, the soldiers of Argos turn on Taurus.
It wasn't Sakis you should have worried about. It was his grandson.
Unable to take the New World Order, just like he's been condemning people to do, Taurus throws himself off the tower to his death. Then, after everything is said and done, instead of reveling in achieving his childhood dreams, Neb remains haunted by Anna's memory, and his heart aches, wishing she could have been there to witness the glory with him. Seeing his pain, the Baroness shares the greatest news.
And she will be waiting for you on the shoulder of Gaia.
Utterly delighted, Neb speeds as fast as he can to the shoulder of Gaia, where Anna awaits him wearing the red dress from his visions and excitedly reunites with her.
One promise, kept in a destiny, and back